You're live. Okay. Hi, everybody. Kris Cahill here from The Art of Being Psychic. And I have invited my friend Ryan Fukuda. Ryan, you want to say hi?
Hello, everyone.
Ryan, what's your Substack?
My Substack is called Breaking the Cycle. I haven't posted a lot there yet, but I really like to start posting in the feed. So I've been posting notes and things like that recently. So I'm just getting started, and I'm excited to continue to build my Substack. Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, I'm glad you're on here because now I can invite you to be my to be a guest on my live Substack. So Ryan is a fellow psychic, a good friend, a colleague, and a fellow psychic and psychic teacher. And we have a specific thing we'd like to talk about today. And this is like something I want to do on the Art of Being Psychic live Substack. Talk about different, have like a specific theme or concept or something in mind, something simple usually. The thing that's really standing out for all of us, not just those of us in the psychic community, but for everybody, is how do you be sensitive on Earth right now, especially, and be safe? And when I talk about sensitive, I don't mean that as a weakness or as something that you're missing or lacking. Psychics are sensitive. Being psychic is human, it's normal. And there's a sensitivity to energy in many different ways. We all have different ways of getting information energetically. And it can be through, the different senses we have. It can be on a clairvoyant level. It can be on a knowing level. So many other ways to look at it. So we, both of us, Ryan and I, as psychic teachers, are often talking about this in classes because this is an important thing for people to be able to have a safety so that they can be psychic, so that they can be safe enough to be sensitive to open up and allow that information or to see things. So I don't know. I want to kind of give that to you again, Ryan, to
Yeah.
see what you'd like to add to it.
Yeah. I think the thing about sensitivity, too, is like in some ways, you're also being aware or conscious, right, to something. Even though you may not know what it is, I think that's another thing about sensitivity that I would love to add around that. Like, sensitivity isn't a weakness, like you're saying. It's something that you can hone and listen to, right? And it's an important thing. And I think a lot of us in the world are sensitive, even when we don't realize it, right? So there are things that, that you feel, or things that you are kind of sensing in some way, and you don't know why, but there's something there, right? And so, and especially during the times that we're in right now, it's like we're feeling everything that's going on around us, whether it's in our communities, whether it's what's happening in the world. It's easily accessible at this point now. Like, we can see it with our own two eyes now, but before we were just feeling around and be like, what's happening? Right. So, that's what I've been kind of thinking about lately, about sensitivity, and also just starting to think about, well, how do I stay safe in the world, or how do I feel safe? And a lot of it's just like, I think, just thinking about, like, how do I feel in my body, really, and how am I feeling? It's like being aware, I think, again, is how I kind of try to think about it. It's better for me to be aware of what's happening versus being unconscious or not knowing what's happening, kind of thing.
I want to talk about that a little bit more. That's a great point, and everything you just said too. But being unconscious to it, like we still know it on some level, you know. And just I'm going to riff on this a little bit. Being unconscious to energies, speaking for myself, when I know I've been kind of willfully unconscious or just unconscious, like I just didn't know it yet, I'd still feel it.
Hmm.
I'd still feel the anxiety or the stress or kind of like that nameless dread. Like when you're watching a horror film, which I don't do, I cannot handle. I think you like them. I can't. Or maybe you don't either. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But it's just that energy of like there's something there and I don't know what it is and I can't see it. So I'm going to imagine the worst.
Right. I don't do that at all.
remember. Are you a horror movie fan or not? We talked
I
about this before.
actually am. Yeah, I mean, recently I've been going more to the movies around that, like around horror films and stuff like that. I'm enjoying it more, but I used to definitely I couldn't stand like the scary parts, so I would close my eyes or kind of do this. But yes, I'm a fan.
Right. But that unconsciousness too. I mean, when you start to become consciously safe, like or creating safety for yourself in different ways. And, we teach a lot of tools and we talk about this a lot in classes or different ways to make things work. When you start to do that consciously, you can actually start to move out the energies that you don't really need to worry about. And also, I
Right.
wanted to touch on that a little bit too, with a lot of that comes in through other people, because I mean, we're all here together.
Hmm.
The stuff you're feeling or the sensitivity you might have to other people's emotions, some of that can just be like it's part of the family group or your friend group, or you're the person who feels everything. You might end up carrying all of it. So your sensitivity is then being used to carry everybody else's
Right.
stuff,
Right.
not
Yeah,
necessarily on purpose. I used to do that.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, and we teach a lot around like how energy gets mixed up, right? Like it's just a thing. It happens. There's no sort of resisting that or forcing yourself to not make that happen because I think that's just what life is about. We're here on the planet, you know, whether we like it or not, surrounded by people and stuff gets mixed up, and it's how you sort of deal with that and how you sort of, um, yeah, just deal with it or take that on in some ways. Yeah.
Yeah, and where and speaking of, like, all the people, I love all the people, and then I get
Yes,
to the point where
exactly. Yeah.
no. And part of how I've managed to, or manage some of my sensitivities over the years is knowing when I've had enough people and then going and giving myself time away, which I don't think is a bad thing, but that's different from being, and I'm speaking for myself again because I used to do this too, being so sensitive that I would avoid situations
Mm,
rather, and then I would not get to have the thing that was happening, if I was feeling overly sensitive that day. I don't do that anymore because I know how to go and have my space and be, me and enjoy without having to take all of that on. And I hear other people saying similar things. I don't know if this has ever been something you've experienced or you know about this.
yeah, I think what you're saying is like a part of safety is sometimes like having space or getting your space in some ways. And it doesn't mean that you're avoiding people all the time or you're isolating yourself, but I think it is important to take a moment away from everything for a moment, even if it's just to do something creative. I feel like, or to read a book, or to veg out on the couch for a minute. I think a lot of our the expectation in our culture is to go, 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 or do, do, do. And that sort of can create this lack of safety or feeling safe because you're constantly like just not out of control, really, um, of what's happening. So I feel like, yeah, I think I definitely deal with what you're saying and wanting space and needing space, but also recognizing that, a part of that safety is also, um, connecting too, I think, like connecting with others, being in with your whether it's your family or partner or friends or whatever it is, like I think working together and being together and sharing time with each other is also a way to feel safe too. Yeah.
I agree. And it depends though on what's happening around you. But
Yes.
But see, bringing this back to being psychic and being safe and with people, because as psychics, what we're also doing is working with people a lot because we choose to. Somebody else might go and learn how to turn on their abilities and work with them and not necessarily want to give readings or they might want to use it for themselves. And
Right.
and and that's totally valid. That is absolutely a valid use of abilities. In fact, I recommend that to people. Like, do that. You don't have to go and be a reader. You don't have to go and give, you know, I'll do all this stuff in the world or, do classes or whatever, you can use it for you, and then that helps enhance your life. But it also still means that being safe while you do that is an important part of it.
Mhm.
And and I want to talk about that a little bit. I think that would be a thing to get into a little. When we look at energy, when we as psychics are opening up and we're looking at energy, and as clairvoyants, you and I do that. We're like reading the energy, reading the pictures, seeing them, looking. We see different other energies that might come in, like different spirits or beings or people or whatever. And sometimes when one does not have a seniority with that energy yet, that stuff might kind of pile on, or you might become responsible for fixing what you see. And that's not what we're teaching people, and it's not how we're practicing it. Seeing doesn't mean that you have to be responsible for everything you're seeing. Sometimes it's just seeing it and saying hello to it, and that's the healing. But when many of us have turned down these abilities since the time we were really small, because we started not knowing what to do with everything what we were seeing. Hence the safety aspect here, like wanting to be safe enough to see and not have to kind of, be overwhelmed by the amount of information and energy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I think you're right. I think there's a lot to unpack there, but, yeah, and I think there's this difference too between feeling energy and seeing energy. I want to point out as well. I think that sensitivity we were talking about earlier in the conversation, um, a lot of the times that to feel energy or to be sensitive in that way, there is a lack of being able to sort of control or to be able to feel comfortable in knowing and what's happening, right? It's kind of like the difference between feeling and seeing is feeling is like it's not it's not necessarily we kind of talk about neutrality, but there's this idea of just like you don't know what's actually happening. And so if you're able to see the energy, it it you kind of can name it, or you're able to sort of see it and be like, oh, like this is what it is. And it doesn't have to be, you don't have to be in judgment of it. You don't have to try to solve it or fix it. It can just be what you see, and that's what it is. And then you can do something about it, kind of thing, right? And that's a way to sort of understand what safety means to you, and how you can get safe again if you feel unsafe in a way.
yeah, that's a great point too. And you could see it and then know what to do about it, or maybe the thing to do is nothing.
Nothing.
Wait, is this something I can do anything about? Nope. Okay, what do I need to do? Maybe back off.
Right. Sometimes it's not doing
You know.
something. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes not doing something and letting the thing happen is the healing too, or is the because if sometimes we make it worse when we jump in and try to do something that when it's not ours to do.
Right. That's also a quality of sensitive sometimes, as we want to do something about it. Yeah. Right. It's
Yes, I must make this pain stop.
yes, make the pain stop. That is, I mean, that is a healer and a psychic, yeah, thing for
Oh my
sure.
goodness. Well, this has been really fun. Is there anything else you want to add before we sign off for today?
Well, I just think this is really fun, by the way. So thank you for inviting me, Kris. This is, yeah, I want to do more of this. This is so fun. And just talking about psychic stuff. And yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being here. I really am happy that you were able to make it. And also, like everyone who's watching this, or if you're watching the video later, if you have suggestions or questions for what you'd like the psychics to talk about on Live Substack, we're happy to do that. We're not giving readings to you, by the way, y'all. But we'll talk about all kinds of topics because we have opinions. We have ways to look at it. Okay. Thank you so much, and thanks, Ryan. I'm gonna call this a live Substack for today. Bye,
All right.
everybody.
Bye, everybody.